Hi and welcome to the latest game testing session of the Imperial Elves by epicwargaming.com. I'm Dave, I'll be walking you through it today. Right, basically, and hello all the YouTube watchers as well, because this is the first ever game testing report I've ever downloaded onto YouTube. So welcome to all you guys. I should talk a little bit about Free Planes as a game, so you guys know what the hell I'm on about. Right, basically Free Planes was written as a free alternative to Warhammer. It's a print and play game, so you print it off and then you play with the figures as you would do with Warhammer. So that's basically what it is. Anyway, today we're game testing the Imperial Elves, which is the next army to come out for them. Here is the sorceress for them. That's their wizard basically. She floats around in a big shroud of magic which protects her. She's quite a good wizard. She gets an additional spell and she gets another little bonus as well. We're also game testing these guys today, the Imperial Enforcers. They are the dog's bollocks of hardness. They are a really hard infantry unit. They are like the elf elite. The elf will have a unit called the Immortals as well, which are like uber hard. They're like the children of gods. That's how hard they are. But these guys are like your normal elite sort of warriors, the Enforcers, and they're really, really good. Anyway, moving on to the next one, we're game testing Destruction as well. Destruction is like a zappy magic. We're nearly there now with it, I think. It's getting better each week. I intend to release 4 new magics for Free Planes. Anyway, the lads today chose, oh by the way, who's playing? It's Matty and Trish. They're playing the Orcs versus the Elves, played by Tom and Alex, the brothers. It's 4,000 point game, 2,000 points each. Anyway, this, for those that don't know, this is the random terrain generator, and basically they're just cards you lay out basically, and that dictates where all the terrain's going to go on the battlefield. Here we go. So as you can see, you've got your 2 hills, you've got your ruins, you've got your wall. Yep. This is what it looks like. Now in Free Planes, as opposed to Warhammer, it goes to the highest general's soldiering, who sets out first and who goes first. And as you can imagine, the elves have the highest soldiering over the orcs. The orcs can have high soldiering if they have the Iron Maiden, but this is a bull army today. Bulls are like character pieces basically for the orcs, like big hard orcs basically. I'll talk a little bit what's in the armies as well. Okay then, so we've got 3 orc spearmen units. We ran out of orc spearmen, so they're Atlantean spearmen there. That is generally Trish and Matty's main unit. They've got the general in there, and they've got another bull in there. So that should be quite a nasty unit. That they've also got a chariot unit with the battle standard in, and another bull. So that is going to be quite a nasty unit as well. Undoubtedly, they'll have a magic banner in there as well. There's a troll unit. They've got 12 trolls, and trolls are always nasty no matter what game you play. Yeah, so on the other side, the elves have got the Imperial Helms. They've got 2 units of watch. They've got a soulless unit here, which are basically human cannon fodder. They've got the Enforcers there, which today played by the Grand Guard, as I haven't made up the models yet. And as you can see, we've got the Sorceress there and a shroud of magic just floating along. This is the first turn. And for those of you who have seen this video before, you'll notice these are turn cards. And I just thought of this before this battle, so I quickly jotted them down on pieces of paper, because I can get a little bit lost sometimes looking through these pictures, remembering whose turn it is. So this is for me and for you, so you can actually see which turn it is. And it's the elves' first turn. Sorry. Also, you'll be wondering what these are. These are round counters, basically, or little holders, so they're all the round counters. And what happens is you fill these up with how many rounds of combat you can fight, and then for each round of combat you're in, you take one away. When you run out, you get exhausted, and then you start suffering some penalties when you're exhausted. And no other game does this, and yet it's such an important factor in warfare. Troops getting tired. So as you can see, oh, here we go. They're the Enforcers, or the Grand Guard. There's the Sorceress with a very nice bomb, and there's the Watch. This is the Orcs' first turn. As you can see, the Orcs are now beginning to encircle these Watch here. probably they're hoping to use these trolls here to pin these guys down, which is not looking very good for these guys, to be honest with you. And the elves don't have the versatility to stop this, by the looks of it. There we are, smash, everything's clashing together for the first time. Well, I say smashing together, these guys basically run into combat, they never charge, they're just sort of moving. You know, they're like brainless morons basically, they can't help what they do. The helms up there, they've smashed into them, and those spearmen should really do quite well against the helms as well. Just pan out a little bit, but this was a shock move here because they didn't. In fact, the helms did really well against the spearmen, even though spearmen get special bonuses against cavalry. These guys just basically smashed through them because the orcs didn't do anything. Well, surprisingly, and you know, they failed the break test. They got something like 1 or 2 points to roll over, and they still failed it. So these guys smashed through, and the elves really needed that because now that puts them in a great position because these guys can swing round and smash the way down all the way through the orcs' army, which is looking very dangerous for the orcs. But the orcs, on their third turn, are also looking a bit lethal because now these guys have moved in a good flanking position. Mind you, these guys have turned to face them, but these trolls could also flank them there. So these guys are dead. There's nothing they can really do. Oh, if you look at the sorceress as well, now this was a major mistake, and this was really the point where it went all wrong for the elves. Other than this, because in free planes you can get marched over. You know, you can have uber hard characters, but you've got to be really careful with your characters in free planes, because if you do things like this, PCs or units can just walk over them. And you know, Trish and Matty, or the orc side, were really just licking their lips because the brothers did not realise the mistake they made. And if we go to the orcs' third turn, as soon as they did it, they just walked straight over it and killed her outright. She did run, but she didn't run far enough. In fact, these guys had to dash after her. And in free planes, all units can use a dash move, apart from war machines. And it just costs you 1 point of endurance, and it was 1 point of endurance well spent. And now that the elves have lost the main wizard, they've lost the general, they've got no magical defence, they're absolutely knackered now. And they've got 4+ battle stress extra on each of their units because of losing the general. So it's not looking good. But one little ray of sunshine, which took a picture. These hags here, which are cowardly, they ran off. Bless them. The chariots smash into the spearmen, but the spearmen do quite well. They do kill 2 chariots, but this is really a nasty unit of chariots. They've got the Banner of Shadows, which really swung it for them. They've got a bull in there, yeah, and they've got the battle stand. Really nasty unit. And with the death of the general, which really swung it, off they went. Of course, these guys broke as well because of the general. Off they went. So it's not looking good for the elves at all at this point. Look at this. These guys held the ground, because you don't always have to charge after enemy. These guys are obviously going to smash into their back and destroy them completely. These guys are obviously going to swing round and hit the enforcers. The enforcers, by the way, are doing really quite well. They're like the only thing that are holding up at the moment. Even with the death of the general, they still hold their ground. And they held it again, but unfortunately, as you can see, these orc spearmen flanked them, and it was just too much. They got flanked, death of the general. That was a really hard unit, and you know, they were just getting smashed, and eventually had to give way, which was quite sad because that was the first ever outing, and I wanted them to do a lot better than this. But there's always next week anyway. But one little ray of sunshine is these guys over here, the helms. They're swinging round now, and they're going to get the revenge on this unit, obviously, and they do. They smash into these guys here. These guys don't stand a cat in hell's chance because cavalry are they get a bonus called the soft infantry bonus if they can catch a unit in its rear or flanks, or any certain types of soft units, and they get loads of bonuses basically, and they'll just hammer them, and they did. They just completely ran over them. Now this looks good for the elves, but unfortunately this happened out of their turn, so unfortunately they're not going to get the combat against these guys until the orcs next turn. And it just gives the orcs enough time to move these chariots in to save these guys. And really, with the death of the general as well, working against the orcs have lost their general, but unfortunately, it's just they've moved. They've got a character in there, they've got the battle standard guy in there, you know. So really, that holds this together. And with the death of the general, and they also do quite a bit of damage on these guys as well. It was just too much. And so, as you can see, the chariots just drove over them basically and destroyed them. And it was a complete wipeout, really. There was no stragglers left at all of the elves. So yeah, it was a complete and utter kicking. These guys re-rallied and came back, bless them. So yeah, we're just waiting for the points to load up to see, so these are the scores at the end of the day. Yeah, the elves did okay. I was quite proud of the enforcers. I know they got destroyed, but still they held the ground for many turns when lesser units would have run away. Well played to Tom and Trish. They did play the better game and they did have the better army. Where the brothers, they didn't play as well because they made that mistake with the sorceress. They should have never have put her out on her own like that, because within those trolls, because trolls have they move point to point movement, so they can simply turn and just walk over her. And yeah, that was a big mistake, and that cost them the game, or cost them a draw at least anyway, because after the general went, their army just fell to pieces. Yeah, so well done. I also felt just before I go that the elves weren't exactly balanced in the units, so the helms were too big for what they were, and the enforcers could have done with 5 less models as well, and those point saving could have been spent on magic items and or other fluffy things to hold the Imperial the elves together. Anyway, that's me done for this week. I hope to see you next week. You can download free planes and all the other stuff on our site totally free at epicwargaming.com. Hope to see you there. Take care. Goodbye.